and welcome to the show. I am here today going to be taking a look at EA Sports WRC, a game that I have been very much looking forward to, a game that I thoroughly enjoyed the preview build of, and you will be pleased to hear, yeah, it's a really damn good game. It's a really good game. In fact, it is the one game that has managed to drag me away from Cyberpunk at the moment. I've been playing through that one, and yeah, I was, and now I've been playing a lot of this. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan of rally games. I'm a big fan of the Dirt Rally 2. I spent a lot of time on those. They were fantastic, and this kind of carries on from there, really. We're going to start by doing a time trial on one of the Kenyan rally stages. Let's start with talking about the physics. Let's talk about the driving, because at the end of the day, that is very important when it comes to a driving game. Now, I am playing this on a controller. I spent a lot of time playing Dirt Rally on a controller. My sim rig is half packed up, so I haven't had a chance to play this on a wheel. But what I can tell you is, on a controller, it's fantastic. It is a really, really good, fun rally game. It is perfect. There are a couple of times, normally when things are going a little bit iffy, when the cars are sliding about, where I do feel like I would like the slight better precise control that you would get from a wheel. But on the most part, I don't feel hindered playing this on a controller particularly. If you played Dirt Rally 2 and could get got on with that on a controller as I did, you will have no problem whatsoever. No fancy, I just plug the controller in and go, haven't messed about any of the settings, and yeah, it's great, it's brilliant. Admittedly, some of the roads, like here for example, maybe don't quite feel as bumpy as you would expect them to. Now that could just be a trick of the camera. At times, yeah, some roads that you expect to be really, really rough just aren't quite as perhaps nasty, but on the whole, yeah, the vehicles are great fun to drive. I mean, like I said, I can't attest to the realism. I've never driven along a dirt road in a full-on rally car, but what I can say is they are great to drive. You know, you drive a Group B car, they are monsters, they are difficult to control. I like this era of car, this sort of speed and this sort of handling works for me. The modern WRC cars are quite different with the way they deploy their power, with the hybrid systems, and they have a lot of front end grip, they have a lot of turning, and not the rear end grip to go with it, which makes me a bit uncomfortable. I'm not great with cars like that. Oh, that's a bump. The Kenyan rallies, you got some nasty potholes for you to launch your car about. We got away with that one just about, but yeah, it's great. You drive some of the classic rear-wheel drive rally cars, and they're sort of leery. I say leery and slow as you would perhaps expect them to be. There's lots of challenge. It's, you know, a challenge to go quickly with the vehicles, but it's a very, very rewarding, a very good fun handling model. Where are we going through here? Flick the car through that section. Yeah, you can just slide the vehicles about. It's wonderful. I can't really fault it all too much. The stages themselves as well are pretty damn good fun. I've not really come across a bad stage on the way through this. Graphically speaking, it's not the craziest, most ridiculously impressive game, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of the time you are not going to notice because you are too busy desperately trying to cling on to a 400 horsepower rocket ship that you don't really notice. The stages themselves, like the road layouts, are brilliant. There might sometimes be a lack of, I say spectacular scenery, that might be a little bit harsh. Yeah, it looks good. I haven't come across any like really distinct, I say distinct, but bland would be a harsh one for the environment. At the end of the day, they're based on real rally stages and whatnot. I have seen more spectacular visuals in terms of the stages in other rally games, but the truth is I don't care, because you don't have time to notice what's going on in the background of the scenery, because you're so busy, you're so focused on trying to keep the cars in between the rocks and the walls and the cliff faces, because the road layouts are absolutely brilliant. And there's a good selection of stages as well. We will go and have a little bit of a quick look through here. My personal favourite is the Acropolis Rally. I absolutely adore it. It's a fantastic, this one here, incredibly good fun, incredibly difficult, some very long stages as well. I think it's a 19-mile stage is the longest of them, but this, I mean, these 15-mile one, that's going to be probably 20-25 minutes of driving. I haven't I haven't tried those, but I mean, you can just look at the track map and you can get the idea of how twisty and turny. I mean, this is a 3.5-mile stage. I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes to get through there. It's so slow. Fantastic stages on here. Acropolis Rally, a particular favourite of mine. You've got all sorts. You've got high-speed tarmac. You've got snow, as you would expect. You've got, where has it gone? Finland is here with all of the jumps that you might want to have to tackle, and so on. There's a lot of stages. You're going to have a lot of fun exploring all of these. You'll find some rallies that you are quick at. I am generally not bad on the sort of gravel. You'll find some rallies that you are not quite so good at. Monte Carlo's a fascinating one. You've got some wonderful sort of tarmac and ice stages in the career mode. I did one where the bottom is tarmac, and as you go up it gradually gets icier and icier as you go up the mountain, and you just start losing grip as you get towards the top. Really, really well done. Really interesting. And to build on that, the career mode is actually really good. I say it's along the lines of what we're seeing from rally games in the past, to a degree, but it does take a slightly different approach to it. So you have this calendar. We've seen calendars in all of this before. But the way it works is as you start a week, you can pick an event. In this case, this is the stuff that's going on this week. So you can rest your staff. We'll have a look at those in a second. We can run in an event to get an upgraded clutch for your car if you build your own car for like the WRC2. I'm starting my career in WRC2. You can get better part quality, you can try and get some new staff, or you can enter various championships with different classes of vehicle. Now, I only have got, at the moment, I have 2 cars. I built my own car for WRC2. We've got this... I don't even know what it vaguely looks like, but it's just, we've got 300 horsepower WRC2 car. I have also bought a Subaru. As you go through the career, you unlock more vehicle slots, more garage slots, so you can buy different vehicles. And the way that you compete in these is, as I said, you've got these weeks and you have various events. So you're going to have to pick and choose. You cannot do everything. And some events, so for example, I went into the Acropolis Rally. I've just got to that one there in Greece, and it takes 2 weeks, so it's the entirety of this week and then the entirety of next week, so you can't do any of the events. But so you can kind of be running in 2 championships at once, so you can be running in WRC2, and for this one I'm running in a Group A championship. We're running the Subaru in this one. But you have times where you have conflicts between what you're running. So this one here will take 2 weeks. That'll skip us along to wherever. You may have to pick between, are you going to run your WSI2 car? Are you going to run in the Group A one? And you've really got to sort of pick and choose. And then if you haven't got a particular, if a week comes along that you haven't got a particular car for, you can go and rest the staff. You can go, and sometimes you get invitational events where you can run in a little championship with a borrowed car, and all of those kind of things. It's a really fun way of doing a career mode. I'm not going to actually go into one of these races, just because it's quite long. But yeah, really, really interesting, fun way of doing a career. The only real downside, the currency is a bit of a weird way to. That's the best way to describe it. There's not a overall amount of money. You have like a weekly budget, essentially, going on. So you can have a certain amount per week for engineers, a certain amount for vehicles, a certain amount for repairs as you go through. So, for example, I go into a rally, they don't want me to spend more than 138,000 credits on repairs. Now, you can end up spending more than that, but if you keep doing that, your benefactor is going to be unhappy. It's slightly less sort of visually easy to follow, as here is an amount of money that you have. You lose money when you buy a car. You gain money for an end of a race. It takes a little. I say it takes a little bit. It's a little bit funky, a little bit of an odd way to do it. As you go through, though, as you complete championships, improve relationships with the benefactors and all of that, you'll get more money. So, like the vehicle budget, for example, is 650,000. I have spent 430. It kind of costs that much to have both those cars but I don't have 600. It's a slightly odd way of doing things. It's not bad per se. It's just a little bit confusing. I just noticed my major target is earn 3 podium events in H3 rear-wheel drive car that I don't have. Probably should get one of those at some point, but we should finish 5th or higher in the drivers' competition for WRC too. I think I've pretty much won that championship with 1 round to go. But yeah, really fun career mode. I've probably not done a very good job of describing it to you. You've got your... if we go into staff, you've got, your various staff. You've got to keep on top of their stamina. You don't want tired staff going into a rally. You get varying skills of staff, but better skilled staff cost more to maintain, and so on and so forth. You get more money to go through. A lot of fun. Really, really good career mode. And yeah, a nice variety. I like the way the championships work. I like the way they kind of interact, and you have to pick and choose what you're doing, and all of that sort of stuff. Fantastic fun. Really, all of that one. The car list is equally brilliant. I touched upon this a little bit when I was playing the preview build, but yeah, car list is great. Let's go to where do we fancy rallying? Estonia. Oh, I'm probably having a very big crash here. I don't know this one very well, and I do know it's incredibly fun. I'm going to stick with the shorter stages just so we can see sort of a little bit more of the different areas. So yeah, you've got your expected main game cars, WRC vehicles. That was the one that I made up. It was the rear-engine vehicle. You got the Puma, the i20, and all of those sort of thing. And while all of those are fun, you got the junior WRC cars, all of that stuff that you would expect. For me, the more interesting stuff. There's stacks of older cars you can go to. Yeah, you've got your sort of late 2017, 2019 vehicles. I don't know quite what the Group A. I know what Group A cars are. I don't know what the difference are for the modern ones. But you've even got your Rally 4, your sort of basic front-wheel drive vehicles. I haven't actually really driven much of these ones before. There's a Twingo. Yes, you can have a Twingo rally car if you so fancy. But then you've got this great selection of late 90s, early 2000s, or through the 2000s vehicles, actually. You've got a C4 in here, Focuses, various ones, the Evo 6, of course. There's a Mini Countryman, if you so wish, the 206. The Cordoba is great to see, somewhat less remembered rally car. I mean, there's some things that are missing that I would like to see, things like the Octavia. I would love to see that one in here. That doesn't get shown much. And there is a little bit of a lack of Toyotas, the likes of the Celica, the Corolla, and those kind of things. There are the brilliant F2 kit cars. Good selection of these, actually, as well. Some I didn't know about the Escort particularly. I mean, these are the ones that you expect to see, the Seat, the Megane, the Peugeot. But yeah, didn't know the Astra or the Golf, for example. I didn't know them all that well. And then you go all the way to proper full-on classic cars, things like the 309. There's a 205 GTI, of course, Golfs and everything. So great selection. Whatever sort of rally car you might be interested in, there is bound to be something to please you. Rear-wheel drive cars, you've got your Sierra Cosworths, your M3s, Mark II Escorts, Stratoses, the Ascona is back. So yeah, huge selection of cars to go rallying with. Let us go and grab a Group A car. You know what? Let's go and have a go with the Galant, because, well, you see the legacy around a fair bit. You don't often see the Galant in games, so we're going to go and, yeah, have a run with this one. So you've got fantastic driving physics. You've got really interesting career mode. Stages are a lot of fun to go driving through. Damage-wise, we have got plenty of that going on. We're probably going to end up binning it at some point. But yeah, there's plenty of visual damage on the cars. You roll, bits are going to fall off, the vehicle's going to be dented. You're going to be able to do, I say, fair amount of damage. You can get punctures. You'll have to stop and repair the car. That is something to bear in mind with, certainly when you're more in the career mode than just in out and out time trialing. One of the things I do wish the game would do, and I've wished this for a long time with rally games, and no rally game has ever been brave enough to do it. This one gets closer to an extent, but still doesn't really. what's here is certainly not bad. The way the damage, when you're in career championships and whatnot, you've got, as you go to the various service stations, you've got a certain amount of time to fix the vehicle. You can do sort of quick repairs that repair it a bit, but and save you time. You can do full repairs that take longer to try and balance out the time. Some parts you have to sort of fully replace, and you'll have to, as you go and break the car along, you'll have to repair it, and those repairs will cost money, etc. But I do wish the game would emphasize a little bit more on essentially wear and tear, because the damage on the parts all comes from crashing, essentially. You bump a rock, you run over a rock, you slide into a wall, and all of those kind of things are going to damage your vehicle, right? Which is fine, which is what you would expect, but the real challenge, I would say, in terms of rallying, is you're going very fast over these all sorts of nasty surfaces, right? You're going incredibly quickly, you're putting a huge amount of stress and strain on the car. I would love to see a rally game that really takes that and, I'm not saying focuses on that, but, have parts of the car wear out on their own. If you run a nice clean rally stage, you can go through incredibly punishing rally stages, jumping the car around, and there be barely any wear and tear on the vehicles whatsoever. I would like a game that focuses perhaps more on, cars essentially breaking down. Maybe when you have low skill mechanics. At the moment, the game tells you what condition your parts are in, right? It's helpful in as far as, you know when you need to be repairing or replacing your exhaust or your suspension or your steering, etc. And while it's you can visibly see if your lights are falling off or whatever, I would love to see the game go for a more, maybe have it as an option. I mean, not everyone would like it, but a more hardcore option where maybe when you have the lower skill mechanics when you're starting out, they might be wrong. They may not know how much damage there is on a car. They may not know how much wear there is on various parts, so you can go into stages and have bits of the car fail. One of the things is when you come to the finish line, when you're against the again, in career modes or events, it'll come up with at the end of a race with all the notes of what's got on to vehicles, and there are cars with all sorts of interesting, essentially breakdowns going on. And as a player, you don't really have, unless you're smashing your car about, you don't really have much interesting going on. You can get punches just from clipping a rock at a slightly wrong angle. That does occur. You don't really get any other mechanical failures without absolutely abusing the car yourself. I would love. And I know this is a me personal thing, and I know that, but I would love to see a game that focused more on the almost mechanical endurance aspect that is so very important in rallying. I mean, I guess modern rally cars are probably more reliable, stronger than they were back in the day, but I would love to see a game that really, I would love to have seen this game actually really go for it, because the damage and all of that is good. The whole repair halts and so on are very, very, always interesting, and it does it well. I just feel like there's another step that I wish it would go to. Another step of you never quite knowing. I mean, this is something that the Formula 1 games, in fact, to be fair, most games that have some form of damage, they do the same thing, whereby you always know exactly how much damage you got, you always know exactly what condition everything is in at all times, so you know what bits you need to repair. You might not have time to do all of it, but you kind of know everything. And in reality, you wouldn't know. You might miss that the suspension's damaged. You might miss that something's going on with the car. And I feel like there would be such a good extension, such a good almost addition to this one if it focused, I say, a little bit heavier on that side of things, and it would add an additional challenge that we might not have particularly seen in a rally game before, or in some ways any racing game. No game has quite been, I say, mean enough. I personally don't think it is particularly mean. Shall we go grab a Group B car? Let's go be mad. I haven't driven the Quattro yet at all while playing this, so let's go have a go. I can't help but feel there's a little bit of a missed opportunity. And again, this is a personal preference for me on this one. I appreciate that might be annoying for others, but maybe, have that as the hardcore damage setting where you just don't quite know. because at the end of the day, that's what happened. I say that's happened with rallying, but rallying, these cars deal with a huge amount of punishment, and you perhaps shouldn't be able to know exactly what condition every part is. You know, there is an option in this when you are going into the repair halts to inspect the parts and so on, but there's no real need to, because it tells you the parts are badly damaged or slightly damaged. And there's no reason to waste time on inspecting stuff. I feel like it could be almost the next step for a game like this, is to maybe not force everybody to play like that. I can understand, certainly if you're new to the game, that's very, very scary. Like that would be very, very daunting, but having that as an option for a hardcore game mode would be really, really neat. I've not really driven Chile before. I don't actually know if I've driven this particular rally very much, so this is a complete voyage into the unknown. Other slight downsides to the game, I'd say that there aren't very many. There is you can make custom liveries for your custom-built cars. In theory, the paint shop doesn't work. Basically, nothing I do seems to make anything happen on the screen. I gave up trying to use it. It's not a particularly big deal for me. I drive from bonnet view. I actually rarely see the car. I've found bonnet view is where I'm most comfortable driving on this game. But, yeah. It's not been it's not certainly by no means a game killer for me, but it really doesn't seem to work at all. I cannot get it to do anything I want it to, so I just gave up with that one. I've had occasionally have very little freezes, but I think that's more my PC. That's not really the game's fault. I have not had too many crashes or anything like that. There is a little chance. I've spent a long time trying to get OBS to play nice. For some reason, while the game runs absolutely fine, outside of the occasional little jitters. But yeah, the game on the most part runs perfectly smoothly and lovely on my PC. OBS sometimes does not want to record it properly. I've fiddled around with a million settings and I'm hoping it's now working. But again, that I suspect might be a more me PC thing than anything else. Pace notes, I'll say, very, very good job on those. You can change, as you come to expect almost with rally games now, you can change how early the calls are and all of that kind of stuff. They're pretty spot on. Even on Dirt Rally, there were a couple of places where I felt like the pace notes weren't, like, in my early experience on that game, there were a couple of times where I thought pace notes were a bit off. This, I've not come across at any point where I felt, these pace notes are a bit funky. They all seem absolutely spot on. I can't think of a game that's had, like, the slight left and slight right ones. I don't know if that's... I don't know a huge amount about real rallying, so I might be... I might be being silly. I'm sure different drivers use different things, but a lot of games have had sort of 6 left and 6 right as the fastest corner, and it's only adding one additional pace note, if you like, but it actually really helps. Weirdly, for me, it really helps because it's enough to tell you what way the road is going. Like, you know, you don't need to brake for a slight left or a slight right unless you've got other things going on. But it helps you know which way the road might be curving without it, you know, being a sort of proper corner. It's difficult to describe if you haven't played rally games, and I appreciate it might not make a huge amount of sense, but just the additional of that pace note itself is really, really helped me. Now, admittedly, this is... Of all the games that I play, all the racing games that I play, rally games are, especially this one where the stages are, this sort of stage is really technical. Rally is one of the most difficult ones for me to record live. Pretty much all my videos are recorded live, and this sort of game takes up a huge amount of concentration. And if I'm talking, I can kind of listen to the pace notes. I'm more catching a glance at what they are visibly on the screen too. It's one of the most intense, like, driving experiences, a game like this, where you are constantly cornering. And I'm by no means the fastest at this game. I know, I'm well aware of that. But swinging an Audi Quattro through the forest is, yeah, quite an experience. And it's a real challenge, but it's such a good challenge in this one. The driving is so fantastic, and the stages are such great fun. As I've not come across a stage where I thought, oh, that was a bit pants. They're all fascinating. They're all interesting in their own ways. I would love to have seen perhaps some of the super special stages, like the really weird, like, technical ones that loop their way around cities and that kind of thing. We don't have any of those in here, which I say was a little bit of a shame, but again, what is here is absolutely wonderful. I don't like the fast sections. I'm alright when it's sort of all slow speed. It's not getting up to higher speeds, that's when things get sketchy. Come on, Audi, there we go, nicely does it. Oh god, we've got chicanes. I haven't dealt with one of these before. They do actually have those sort of like hay bale chicanes. That's nasty on the exit. Another thing, just thinking when I'm driving a Group B car, there is actually quite noticeable turbo lag in some of these. I mean, I say noticeable turbo lag. I've been, an upcoming video I've been messing about, and I was using a 205 for a fair bit, and when you are in first gear, if you are, I don't know how fast I can be through there, I'm going to slow down. Well, that's a really nasty chicane. Did not get that one right at all. But yeah, these crazy cars, some of the really slow hairpins, if you don't keep the revs up, you actually very much feel the turbo lag going on with these cars. So you know, you've got that level, of realism. A couple of corners in particular where I was wishing I had a clutch button that I could just kind of do that to try and build the revs up and almost get some wheel spin. That's clipped a tree. We survived. It's fine. There was a tree. I was obviously a few millimeters the wrong side. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. This is one of those games that, even just sitting here doing time trials, even though I'm not competing against any AIs, I just like driving the car. I just like driving the vehicles through the stages. I've had a lot of fun just doing time trials and all of that kind of thing. Is wonderful. The AI difficulty as well. That's something else I was going to mention just before we do wrap up. AI difficulty, pretty damn good as well. I think I play on about 85. Oh, it's pretty damn good most of the time. I think I play about 85 out of 100 on the difficulty, and I'm normally fairly competitive. I have had one rally where it was like about 5 seconds between me and the lead AI, and I'd build a lead, I'd lose it a little bit, they'd fight back and so on. And we went into the power stage, and I somehow pulled a minute gap on everybody, and I don't quite know how I managed that one. I mean, as I said, I'm not bad at this game, but I shouldn't have been going that much faster. That was just one example that I came across that was very weird. There'd been a couple of stages, although it may well be more down to my driving in places, either suddenly being very fast or some places suddenly not being fast. It's sometimes difficult to know, but on the most part, you will find a difficulty. Play around a little bit with the settings. You'll find a difficulty that works for you to make a really, really entertaining time. And then, I mean, if this isn't enough, not only got, the career mode, I haven't delved into multiplayer. I've played a huge amount of this game, huge amount of fun, not fussed or been trying any of the multiplayer, all of that sort of stuff. You've even got these moments things as well, which is quite good fun, where they set up these little challenges, some based on real stuff. So this one here based on McRae, trying to finish a rally with a wrecked Subaru, and I presume these are going to be added on to as we go through. In fact, is that new? I don't know if I seen that one before. But yeah, so you've got challenges. Might be to try and beat a certain time, might be to try and do a comeback victory, drive with a damaged car, all of that kind of thing. So it's another thing that you can sort of work your way through and play your way through alongside all of that stuff. You can create your own championships and all of that kind of stuff as well if you want. Outside of the career mode, you can create your own custom championships and everything. Yeah, it's a really good game. It is a fantastic game. It sadly doesn't have the rallycross that I enjoyed in Dirt Rally. That's perhaps not a big surprise, being official licensed World Rally Championship game that doesn't have the rallycross. I say a little bit of a shame. I did enjoy the rallycross aspect, but there is more than enough here to have an awful lot of fun with. I mean, there's always the concern that they might find a way to EA it up, and that is a genuine concern. There is where is it? Have I lost it? Is it under here? There is a rally pass thing, which you can get I think different outfits for your character and whatnot, and you need EA Play to get some of these things. But as it, I say, so far, all it looks like is just sort of this kind of stuff. is not the biggest concern. You don't even see most of this. The livery editor's broken, and I can't get it to work anyway. You don't see your driver most of the time. So if this is all that gets added to the game, I don't really care all too much. Because yeah, I'm barely going to change any of that anyway. Yeah, what's here? Amazing fun. It's fantastic to go racing, to drive. It's just a game that I have enjoyed driving cars on immensely. I've had a lot of fun with this one. If you're into your rallying, you are going to have a lot of fun tackling this. Fantastic career mode, brilliant car list, all sorts of interesting stuff, including stuff you might not have thought about or remembered about. Yeah, I do really, really recommend this one. But there we go. That is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, a goodbye.